You're listening to an episode recorded during the time Innovation Fuel was part of University Canada West. We are proud and grateful for the work we've done together, and we want to thank the university for being in our podcast. We are now excited to continue the journey of Innovation Fuel into its next chapter. Thanks for listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Innovation Fuel, the podcast that brings you fantastic stories from entrepreneurs and key industry professionals. I am Dave and Gelareh.
And I am Gelareh, FarOut. We are educators, entrepreneurs, and your hosts. Innovation Fuel is our weekly business podcast brought to you by University Canada West. Each week, we explore diverse business models, entrepreneur journeys, experts' insight, and managerial challenges, and how companies stay agile and innovative during COVID-19. Check out our episodes at www.ucanwest.ca/innovationfuel. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Gelareh, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. It looks like you're packing for going to camping again.
Oh, I'm always taking the kids camping. It's the economical way to go on vacation.
This is your way. You really enjoy the camping. I used to enjoy it, but it's in the very, very warm weather. I would love to go camping, but not in the cold weather or rainy one. No, I'm not.
Well, the only thing that you run into, and I don't know if anybody remembers out there, but last year the BC Parks website crashed at this time because so many people were going camping. And even to try and find a campsite, like I know my wife has been diligently on the site trying to find opportunities where we can go camping, and it's not that easy to find it. So I don't know.
Especially during the COVID, when you're not allowed. There's a lot of travel restrictions. You're not allowed to go outside your city or outside your province. So people are more interested inside their city go for camping.
Yeah, and so true. And I think that the other thing and I think we're going to have some conversations with an individual here that might be able to introduce us to another type of camping where we don't have to rely on BC Parks, or we don't have to rely on some other pieces out there to go and pitch our tent and take our family camping. But yeah, camping is a fun family activity. It is great, and it's great now at COVID because we don't have very many other places to go.
Yeah, and I think that this the Abbie Morris, our guest, she's going to talk about how she pivoting her business. But it seems that pivot is a popular term right now for all startups. But I just don't know what does a pivot means exactly. Is it change? Is it change? Any change can be a pivot, or is it change of the business model? So what we can actually mention what a pivot is.
Yeah, and I think, Gelareh, there is a lot of confusion out there. Because of COVID, a lot of things had to change. You had to find a new market. You had to find a new opportunity. You had to reposition your product in order to find new opportunities. And so we get this word and this buzzword of pivot, but not everything is a pivot. And so when we think about a pivot is not finding a new market. That's not a pivot. No,
it's changing the strategy, and you don't change your strategy. You don't change your strategy every day, or so it's absolutely. It means, so for example, how you create value, how you capture value. It's another way to do that one. Another strategy you take it. So that is more pivoting. I know, but it's a lot of entrepreneurs use pivoting a lot, but it's maybe this change is part of their everyday job, but pivoting maybe it's not their everyday job.
Yeah, and that's so true, and that's what we need to make sure that people know to understand the difference between what actually an official pivot is and what is a strategic opportunity and a strategic change to your plan, and how you're going to get more value out of your offering.
Let's welcome Abbie Morris, the CEO of Vancouver Island Rooftop Tents. Welcome, Abbie.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Abbie, welcome to our Innovation Fuel podcast. We are extremely excited to have you on the show today. We want to learn so much more about your organization. Before we get there, we need to know who Abbie is. Can you tell us a little bit about who Abbie is?
Sure. As you can probably tell from my accent, I'm originally British, but I've been in Canada for the last 3 years. I've actually been outside of the UK for over 10 years now. I previously was living and working in Malawi in Southern Africa. And that's where we had our first business, FarOut Property, from 2014 to 2018. But in 2018, we decided to move our family over to Canada and arrived as new immigrants to Canada and have been exploring the entrepreneurial space in BC for the last 3 years with our business FarOut Wilderness and sister brand Vancouver Island Rooftop Tents.
Thank you. So, Abbie, what is the biggest differences between entrepreneurial environment here or UK or South Africa?
Yeah, I think the biggest differences for us have been the operating environment, really. There's a lot more support and infrastructure in the BC context. Just looking at being a new entrepreneur kind of in this as an immigrant, basically, access to financing and also support services for women entrepreneurs as well. So I definitely would say that's been a huge help in migrating to this business environment for sure.
Perfect. So, Abbie, can you explain a bit of your business? It's a Vancouver Island top roof tent.
Yeah, so we actually have kind of two key products. We have FarOut Wilderness is our primary business with overland vehicle rentals with fully fledged itineraries, primarily until COVID for the international market, really allowing clients access to the backcountry of BC and to be able to do some wilderness camping and explore our great rec sites and BC parks. The sister brand, Vancouver Island Rooftop Tents, was a pivot due to COVID and specialized in providing rooftop tent rentals and subsequently rooftop tent sales and overland gear sales for the domestic market and obviously our BC market at this time whilst travel is restricted.
So you had to make a pivot here, Abbie. You said you had to make a pivot. So your original business idea, business concept when you first came here was the overland vehicles.
Correct, yes. So, and that idea was actually born from our years in Southern Africa, in Malawi, and all the road trips we did over there. We really saw there was a big market in that area for people wanting to do 2 to 3 to 4 week trips across Southern African countries and being fully equipped with everything they needed on board to do that trip. When we arrived into BC, we had all of this wilderness, all of these Forest Service roads, and were really, really surprised at the gap in the market in terms of that service provision and really making it safe and accessible for those that don't necessarily have the confidence to go out and buy all the gear themselves. So yeah, but Vancouver Island Rooftop Tents was a pivot. Our initial business was the overland vehicle rentals. When I say overland vehicle, it's a fully kitted Toyota Tacomas with rooftop tents and all of the camping gear. And we really primarily looked at that for the international market. But due to COVID and the change in the market, we really had to pivot to something that was more suited to the local market.
So what you're offering now for local market during the pandemic, and I know it's very good time for camping. So
yes, indeed. It's probably one of the only outlets we have at the moment, right? So yeah, Vancouver Island Rooftop Tents is basically allowing people from BC, specifically our main location is in Victoria. So we are allowing people to rent a rooftop tent. So we recognize that the local market, a lot of them have a vehicle or access to a vehicle. So that was the piece of the product that wasn't really required for the local market as opposed to international. So we're allowing people to rent a rooftop tent for a period of 3 days up to 1 month if they would like. And we help them fit it to their vehicle and obviously make sure it's fitted and give them a full walkthrough of, how to maintain it, how to open it, close it. It's very easy. And we also then allow or have kind of moved into more kind of overland gear sales, including rooftop tent sales as well. We've just noticed that with everyone wanting to go camping and car camping and RV camping is very popular, that having this as a sleeping option is becoming increasingly desirable.
But this is not everybody that's going to go for a rooftop tent. This is a unique market even in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think this market in itself is unique in terms of we're finding that it's the local market that they have an interest in camping, but they don't necessarily always have the confidence and all of the gear to go out and do it. So a lot of our kind of sales really is not just so much about the product, it's about our experience and expertise of, traveling in the backcountry, being safe in the backcountry, how to navigate, and good places to go. And I really think that's part of our experience and expertise that we offer. And those conversations, it is about the tent or it's about the gear, but it's also building those relationships with clients and customers as well.
So I would want to a bit focus on your operations side.
Sure.
First of all, I just want to say your daily routine for operating this business.
Yeah, well, operations currently look quite different to what we had actually anticipated being in year 3 of operations. We, for financial reasons with COVID, took the decision that, both myself and my husband, it's a family-owned and operated business. We're both in full-time employment at the moment and running both of these brands. So needless to say, it's busy and there's a lot of passing of the buck from one to the other, should we say, in terms of operations between us. Day-to-day operations at the moment, with travel restrictions being in place still. With FarOut Wilderness, we currently only have the one vehicle. We're looking at doing 2 vehicles over the summer, but we're obviously waiting for those restrictions to lift. So that's operations for FarOut Wilderness. For Vancouver Island rooftop tents, we're getting a lot of inquiries in at the moment. So fielding a lot of customer and client questions and inquiries and viewings of tents, which has been quite challenging as well because we don't yet have a retail operational space. So we're actually offering a service where we go and meet the client at their location or wherever they would like to meet us, and we take the vehicle with the tent on and can do a full tour of the tent and kind of conversation that way.
So what is the production cost for you mostly? Because you own all your gears and your vehicles, right? You own all of them.
Yes, currently. So we will, with FarOut Wilderness, we're moving to a slightly different model. The first vehicle and all of the gear we own. So that's obviously quite asset heavy with the vehicle costs and the like. But moving forward, we'll be looking at leasing vehicles for a short-term period. So we've found a business that does commercial lease for a 4 to 6 month period. And we'll be working with them closely so that we can scale our fleet while only maintaining those operational costs for the vehicles for the 6 month period over the summer season. So yeah, our operational costs also for Vancouver Island rooftop tents is a lot of inventory, and really kind of storage, but a lot of marketing costs really, I have to say, in terms of especially with moving so much onto digital marketing in the last year or so.
Okay, and so do you have partners as well to get help from them? For example, vendors, suppliers, any partners to help you?
Yes, we do. So for FarOut Wilderness, kind of vendors and suppliers, we do have some support services for some of the marketing elements and aspects. For Vancouver Island rooftop tents, it's a bit different because obviously we're requiring inventory and working with different suppliers. And we've really made a conscious decision to go for quality, preferably Canadian brands, and really looking at high quality and the high customer service side. So one of the early partners for that business was Treeline Outdoors, and they're a Canadian producer of rooftop tents. And recently we've brought on iCamper and Go Overland. So we currently have 3 brands of rooftop tents, and are also exploring further brands on tents and also overland gear as we move further forward into this season.
So Abbie, on the operational side, and coming back to the delivery of the tent and the opportunity for your customers to visualize this element before you're going out and you're manually going to their place of wherever they are and showing them this element. How do you scale up from there? How do you take that and grow that out from where you want to be, like so that you can cater to more customers?
Yeah, that is probably most of the conversations being had with a beverage at the end of the day at the moment. And we have done a lot of research the last 3 months about how to scale from here. We initially started looking at like storage solutions that, kind of had professional frontage that we could, still present the tent either on the vehicle or in the storage units. But again, one of the restrictions is really around getting the tent onto the vehicle. They're not heavy. They're about 150 pounds. So 2 adults can usually get the tent onto the vehicle. But from a liability perspective, you don't really want your client lifting tents. So we have a winch system. Last year, we had that system operating from our home. But again, it doesn't give the image and look that we're looking for. So we're currently looking at finding partnerships for retail space of like-minded businesses. So that could be outdoor adventure pursuits, or that actually could be in kind of, the vehicle side of things, like vehicle maintenance or businesses that sell roof racks and things like that. So we're currently looking for a partnership because that would bring down the operational costs of having a storage space and a permanent presence. Because we'd love for people to be able to walk in Monday to Saturday, not have to book an appointment, and just be able to walk in and see our products.
So you see your customers can come to your place and see the products before they're having it. I thought that they're booking online, right?
It depends on the product. So for FarOut Wilderness with overland vehicle rentals, they're booking online. And they're not seeing the product before they pick up the vehicle. And at that point, we do usually about a 1 hour handover of the gear and how the vehicle works, how to use 4x4, how to use the tent, etc. But the same with the rooftop tent rentals, we have previously been asking them to come to our space, as that's where we have the winch system. But for the overland kind of gear sales and the tent rentals going forward, we would like that to be in a retail space.
So it's planning for from your product, the planning is going to be very difficult, right? Is it easy? I don't think it's easy. Is it?
The planning for the kind of development into the retail space is not easy, because we're in an interesting phase of the business where it's kind of not economical to get your own retail space. It's too expensive. And it's difficult to find the right partnership. And the storage unit, which is within our price bracket, is not really the brand presence that we're looking for. So I would say we're probably going to sit in this bracket for probably the next year or so, before sales and revenues increase to a point where we can really prioritize and pay for our own space. And it's just recognizing that we need to have that professional brand, be able to provide the high-end customer service, and to really come across that, we really do know what we're talking about, and we are taking this seriously, and that's really important for us.
Mm-hmm. So, Abbie, do you have other competitors in your market or in the BC market?
Yeah, we do. That landscape has changed quite a lot over the last 18 months. For FarOut Wilderness, for the overland vehicles, our main competitor was actually a business called Hastings Overland, which really sadly did not survive kind of the first 6 months of COVID. They were quite a big scale. They had 12 vehicles and had been in operations for 3 to 4 years. And that was actually a big blow for us in terms of, they were always kind of who we would look to aspire to really, their business model and kind of how they were progressing and that side of things. So they're no longer in the market. We now have a number of smaller players for FarOut Wilderness. So in terms of competitors, so every business maybe has 2 to 3 vehicles. There's maybe 3-4 main competitors, one new this year. So we are seeing businesses move into this space, but now we're all kind of an equal scale really during these times. So that's the competitors for FarOut Wilderness. For rooftop tents, there is more competition in terms of tent sales. On the island specifically, there's maybe 3, 4, 5 outlets that offer rooftop tents. But I would say what sets us apart is this is our bread and butter. This is what we do. We are looking at overland gear, outdoor adventures, getting people into the backcountry. Whereas a lot of the other businesses in rooftop tents, it's one of the products that they sell, and they either do vehicle modifications, or they focus on racks and bike racks and all of those kind of things. And rooftop tents is just one of their products. It's not their main focus. So that's how we're trying to set ourselves apart there. In terms of rooftop tent rentals, we're the only ones, I believe, on the island offering that. And the conversion rates actually between, it's a big investment. I mean, the most expensive tent we have for sale now is close to $5,500. The cheapest one is around $2,500, say. So it's an investment to make. And we really find that these clients like to really see and use the product. So having the rental option beforehand has done great jobs in conversions in terms of people then deciding they want to buy, or actually in repeat clients of, I don't want to invest in buying, I'm only going to use it 3 weekends a year, I'll just rent from you for those 3 weekends. So that's been really great.
So you're building a very successful customer journey, because with the rentals that leads into further purchasing and building that relationship with your customer.
Correct. Yeah. And that's really been the aim. And I would say also, even on the vehicle rental side, we've really strengthened the business model by having local clients. Post-COVID, hopefully we will keep and expand those local clients and also have the international clients. So we have a diversified market base, really, which is great. And I don't think we would have had that without COVID. That wouldn't have been our focus. The other thing we're finding is, word of mouth is starting to take part, and people, for the local clients, at least, we're getting repeat customers for the same rental. And then it's like, well, this time I want to do a trip with my friends, or I want to bring my family, or, can we have a second or a third vehicle? Or this household has a vehicle, they just need the tent, but we need the vehicle. So we're kind of able to service and really, I feel like we're involved in their holiday planning. For some of these repeat clients, they're coming to us being like, we've got a week, what should we do? And we're going to invite our friends. And it's just nice. It's really nice to get involved with those clients and, and feel on first name terms and, share and hear about their experiences, really.
It's what you're doing in terms of ensure that the product you rent and coming back is still they're not damaged. So is there any policy you have for?
Yeah, we have. So it's a little bit different, obviously, depending on what you're renting. But essentially, we have a rental policy agreement. So it's no different, really, than if you were to go into a normal vehicle rental outlet and you have a rental policy. And we've actually invested a lot of time, not necessarily a lot of money, but into systems and processes to help us be scalable, especially as we're so time strapped, because, we are still trying to do full-time jobs as well. We've really, really focused on systems and processes. So we have got an online app that essentially does an audit with the client and a walk around electronically, and they electronically sign it when they leave. And then when they come back, we do the same form and they electronically sign. And, we're looking for the usual things of any damage to the vehicle. We take a safety deposit, like a damage safety deposit, which covers for the insurance kind of excess. And our vehicles are fully insured for backcountry adventures as well. So, and that's really sets us apart from other providers, especially in the RV space, where off-road driving or gravel road driving, like, you're not allowed off paved roads. And that's completely against what we're about. And we want people to be off-road and really exploring safely on those Forest Service roads.
So what, because you said that you're doing a lot of time, you're spending a lot of time to improving your process. What is the next step for improving your process? What do you think you need to see and improve in terms of process?
It's always continuous improvement, right? For us, there's a few things. We've really been focused on the client journey. So we overhauled the website mid last year for FarOut Wilderness, that is, and invested in getting a full booking system up and running. So that was the primary focus, and then during the handover process, we focused on obviously digitizing and having all of our rental agreements electronic and online. The next steps really, I would say, is around the marketing and streamlining a lot of what we do on the marketing side of things. Using tools that allow us to kind of get our social media posts, scheduled and planned for the month rather than doing them ad hoc, and moving in that direction. The other processes really are going to be about when we scale in terms of inventory, inventory management system, and also kind of, maybe this isn't a system, but kind of really getting to a point where we can negotiate a bit more with the suppliers on kind of delivery and payment terms. But we're not at that scale yet. We need to be at a bigger scale to be able to do that.
So Abbie, this has been an enlightening conversation, and we love what you're doing and you're trying to achieve. And I want to ask one more question, then I want you to throw out a challenge to our audience. But the question I just want to ask you about is this pandemic and this COVID element. How has it changed you, and how has it changed your business model in a positive way?
Wow, that's a big question. It's changed us and our business model substantially. On a personal level, I don't think, in Malawi, we took a lot of no's before we would get a yes on something. But having that resilience really of being told no and not accepting it, and having just that perseverance and determination, sometimes I would say stubbornness, just to keep going. Even if you're getting told no, you just keep getting told no until someone's going to tell you yes. And I have to say that, we have had a mentor from Futurepreneur that I really need to give light to here, because having someone in your corner during this time, and just having one person not to say no to you and say, you're not crazy, you're doing a good job, you've just got to keep going, don't give up. And having someone in your corner who's not your family, right? Because they're always going to tell you that, but someone with business acumen that you really respect has been fantastic. In terms of a business perspective, yes, our business is a smaller scale currently than what I think it would be without COVID, but it's way more robust. And if we can survive this, honestly, it's confidence building that if your business in tourism can survive COVID, your business can survive when travel is allowed. And the demand will be there, and it's a case of kind of really plugging away at scalability and marketing and brand presence, really. So when things do start to open up, people can see you there and can see that you've got 3 years of experience behind you, and it's credibility, really. It's I wouldn't wish it on my best friend, but I would say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And it's definitely been that for us, and it's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah, absolutely. So Abbie, how the student or anyone or our audience can approach you? How they can find you?
Oh, yes. We have 2 websites. We have FarOutWilderness.com and Vancouver Island RooftopTents.ca. Those are our 2 websites for, obviously, one for the vehicle rentals and the other for the rooftop tents. We're also on social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook with the handle at FarOut Wilderness and at Vancouver Island Rooftop Tents.
So, Abbie, it takes a community to build. Like you said, you need support. You need other people out there. Can you throw out a challenge to our audience, to our students? Maybe we can help you here and help you achieve some of these goals that you need to achieve.
Yeah, one challenge I did have in mind is our Vancouver Island Rooftop Tents website was literally thrown together over a couple of weekends during this rapid pivot about a year ago. And I would love to challenge people to provide feedback on how we could turn that into a fully fledged e-commerce platform. It has some elements of that now, I believe. It has a level of professionalism, but I think there's room for improvement for the client journey on that website, and I'd love feedback on that.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Pleasure having you on our show today, Innovation Fuel. And we look forward to hearing how you move through COVID. So we'd like to maybe touch base with you in the next, 6 months from now to see how things are working and how things are moving forward. And we will throw that challenge out to the audience here and see what they can come back with.
Thank you very much for the time today.
Thank you, Abbie. Thank you, Dave. That was another episode of Innovation Fuel Podcast.
To all entrepreneurs and managers out there, we have ambitious students here at UCW who would love to hear from you and help you with your business through our internship, our capstone program. If you think you have a wonderful story or a challenge that you want to share with our students and our audience that you think they can benefit from, we want to hear from you. We want that information. We want you to be a part of this show. We also want you to join our mentorship program. We've got a great mentorship program to help students as they move on their educational journey towards getting into a career or launching a new opportunity. So reach out to us, connect with us at www.ucanwest.ca/innovationfuel.
You have just listened to the Innovation Fuel Podcast with your hosts, Dave and Gelareh. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Google, or Spotify. Join us next week for another innovative story. Thank you for listening and have a great week.